And welcome back to the Brickazoid's Den. So now we are here to talk about Amphibia, the new Amphibia episodes, if you count both segments as different episodes, which both episodes brought in two different groups, the Marauders and the Olms, and kind of built their groups up and kind of talked about them a little bit. Although I think the Marauders are done based off of this first episode, but we'll have to see in later episodes of the season. But clearly, the Olm Town Road, which is segment B, was the more important episode, also leaving us off with a cliffhanger, which of course I will talk about what happened in that episode later on here. But there was also segment A, which was another mission episode, but it was an interesting one because again we were introduced to a new group of enemies, I guess besides just King Andreas and his group. But again, they were taken down in this episode, basically. So we'll get into the descriptions here, so won't waste any time. So let's start with segment A of episode 12. We have Sasha's Angels. So we start off with Sasha and Anne are meeting with a team talking about Marauders intercepting a shipment of weapons. This is the new group here, the Marauders. The group is going to steal from the Marauders camp to get their stuff back, infiltrate it, go in, get their stuff. And Sadie Croker is instructed to set up the plan for Foggle, Wally, Toady, and Maddie. Now, Toady is being annoying and only wants to be the lookout and organize meetings instead of actually going in there and fighting because he hasn't really got his, I don't know, what would you call it? Really found his place to be. I don't know how you would describe it here, but basically he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight anybody. He's really nervous. He's very scared. He's never fought it. He doesn't have that mindset like Wally, Foggle, Sadie Croker, Maddie, that group. So Tony, again, being annoying, just wants to be the lookout, wants to organize meetings, and he needs to step out of his comfort zone. So the group sneaks into this Marauders camp, which was empty, but then it ends up being a trap. Anne and Sasha are able to escape the Marauders trap, but the others get caught. Sasha says they're just going to wait till Sadie Croker's team escapes because they are strong enough. So, but Anne is kind of against this idea. Anne's more thinking that they might need help, would rather go back in and help and save them, but Sasha says no, so that basically happens there. We learn that Barry the Candyman runs the Marauders. Of course, Barry the Candyman is from previous episodes of the show, and he runs the Marauders group here. And the team starts to discuss or make like an escape plan, but when they try to execute it, they try to escape the Marauders camp. Toady tries to stop this Marauder guard, finally find his courage, but it doesn't really work, and this big, huge buff Marauders guard picks him up and hurls him at the escaping team, knocking out Sadie Croker and getting them captured again. Meanwhile, Sasha and Anne are training, and then Anne kind of is hinting at maybe that Sasha doesn't really care about the team. Of course, Sasha does, because she's had history with the team before, and that kind of confuses Sasha a little bit, which was, a weird thing to say. It was a very weird, back and forth plot line here. But Sadie Croker is knocked out, like I had already said, and Toady is picked. And he in the cell, Toady is picked on by another guard. Finally, steps out of his comfort zone and gets the courage to fight the guards now. Sets up a whole team with Foggle, Wally, and Maddie. Sets up a whole plan with Foggle, Wally, and Maddie, so that they can dig their way out of the cell, straight to the weapons, get the weapons, stop the Marauder camp, and yeah. So Anne is against waiting for her friends and wants to help them all, but again, Sasha says no, and Anne says something along the lines that Sasha doesn't care about the team like she does, while Sasha obviously does. So the team again was fighting Marauders, escapes with the weapons, escapes with the shipment of weapons, but Anne, and then while on the ride back, Anne apologized to Sasha because she didn't think Sasha cared about the team enough. When she really did, just knew that Sadie Croker had to put her trust in Sadie Croker to be able to escape on their own. So overall, this little mission episode, very similar to the last week's episode where we had the mission episodes, just another one of those with the Marauders here. But I think we are kind of stepping out of that little one segment mission episodes now with this Olms storyline. I know that this next segment is about Olms, and then the episode next week, I believe the first segment A of next week's episode, is also about the Olms storyline. So that'll be interesting to see because it looks like they're going to be important characters to this series or to this season. So that's going to be interesting to see. So we'll continue on here with the Olm story, or the Olmtown Road. That's what it's called. All right. So now we have segment B here again, Olmtown Road, and we start off with the group. And Sasha comes in and says that they need an actual plan to defeat Andreas. They've been doing little side missions trying to knock down Andreas' forces, but now they need an actual plan to go straight to the source and take down Andreas. The group can't really think of much, but Anne remembers a cryptic message that she saw on Earth, and she took a picture of it. And Sadie Croker is able to translate it to, and it says, "Seek the mother," or Mother Olm, or something like that. So clearly, this means something. It was on Earth. It was a cryptic message. It's very important some way. Sasha, Anne, and the planters travel to Quarreller's Pass to find the Olms that Spriggan and Polly encountered on one of the episodes from season 2 when they're actually in Quarreller's Pass. They actually met the Olm characters here, and now they're going to go back to Quarreller's Pass to find those Olm characters again. But they see when they're flying over on Joe Sparrow that the area has been taken over by Andreas soldiers and one of Andreas's mining drills. So basically, they meet with the Olm characters, and Sasha, Anne, and the planters get the Olms to come out of the cave. They ask about the Mother Olm, and they would need to go to the underground Olm city of Proteus, I think it was, to find the Mother Olm. And then the Olms lead Sasha, Anne, and the planters to Proteus to go find the Mother Olm. So this place is like a whole underground city, which was pretty wild to see. I would believe, in Quarreller's Pass, underground, under Quarreller's Pass, I guess it would be. So the Olms are feeling the effects of Andreas's bots mining in Quarreller's Pass, and the sunlight. I also didn't know this, or didn't remember this from season 2. The sunlight affects the Olms, so they can't really go outside, and they can't go up and stop Andreas's bots. Now, the kind of like the leader of the Olm city, Parisia, I think her name was, is just like a nuisance. They're very against the Olms. Just saying that it's like an earthquake. It's not actually Andreas's drills or anything like that. That was mainly like the main issue with the episode here, is like this character Parisia is just not letting them do anything, and doesn't like outsiders, doesn't like the two Olm characters, Lysel and Engwin. She's the main problem of this episode here. But basically, Sasha, Anne, and the planters work to shut down Andreas's drill machines so that they can actually try and like go and meet Mother Olm, just to stop the earthquakes, quote unquote. And the Olms, the two Olms, Lysel and Engwin, go out into the sun to destroy the drill machine for Proteus, because they're, still loyal to it, even though they were kicked out, which causes the floor to cave in, and then Lysel and Engwin nearly die, saving the city. But Parisia still doesn't believe them, and is like, oh no, you're just making that up because you want to try and get into our city, but whatever, because she doesn't like Lysel and Engwin. And then Sasha insults Parisia, the guardian of Proteus, and Parisia respects Sasha for doing it, and brings Sasha, Anne, and the planters to Mother Olm, and that's where the episode cuts, is when they're walking into like this giant gate area where Mother Olm presumably is. So there's your cliffhanger there. Of course, it's going to pick up next week with segment A and the Mother Olm episode. So that'll be interesting to see who this Mother Olm character is, what this Mother Olm character has to say. And yeah, that's really it. Overall, as you know, I haven't been too crazy about this season 3B of Amphibia so far. And I would say it still kind of goes the same way here. I'm not crazy. Like the first segment was good. It was fine, because it was like, oh, the Marauders are kind of cool, a cool group. And just having another kind of like side mission like this is kind of cool. But I'm glad that they're now starting to seemingly get into more like deeper storyline here, which is cool. I like the idea of this Olm group, I guess. It would be interesting to see like how they play a part in destroying Andreas and I guess defeating Andreas, I should say, and stopping Andreas from taking over the world of Amphibia. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like next week's segment A is going to maybe give us some insight on some important information. I really hope it does, because I feel like this season really hasn't, or this part of the season hasn't found its stride yet. Like it hasn't really, brought me into the episodes yet. Hasn't really gotten me excited so far. So I'll continue covering Amphibia, of course, season 3. But I don't know. I'm just not too crazy about it so far, I guess. not too crazy about it. So, with that being said, if you enjoyed that video, do the common YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later.